Your deck does not matter. That's right, I said it. And that might make some people mad. But hear me out. There are so many ways to enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! And in today's day and age, there can be pressure to play the meta decks and bounce around from strategy to strategy constantly. Which, for some people, is great, because that's what they're looking for out of the game, and what brings them the most joy. And that's what the soul of my argument is today. It's not your deck that matters. What matters is that you enjoy the game to the fullest. I believe that there is a spectrum of ways to play the game, but players can typically be grouped into 3 stages of this spectrum. So, let's dive into them, and examine how each exemplifies that your deck does not actually matter. The meta sheep is someone who consistently looks at the top performing deck and instantly picks it up, almost regardless of how they feel about the gameplay surrounding it. Following trends without becoming too attached to any specific deck. This player's main goal is to compete as best as possible, and winning games is what they enjoy the most. They'll take a hit and play decks that might create boring or unfun environments, all to earn them that satisfactory victory. To the meta sheep, their deck does not matter, because their deck is simply a tool that they use to achieve more wins. The average guy falls right in the middle of the spectrum, and is where I would personally place myself, along with the largest grouping of the player base. These players don't care for the meta like the meta sheep does, but they still like to do the best they can. Typically, the average guy has 1 or 2 pet decks that they can crack out at any time and have a blast with, regardless of how good or bad those strategies are in any given format. These players also love experimenting and trying new decks just because they think they're neat.
I just think they're neat.
Not because they think they'll win the world championship with them. This doesn't mean these players don't get the competitive itch though. And when a strong deck looks like it could be fun, the average guy will take a stab at it and see just how well they can do with it. To the average guy, their deck does not matter. What matters is enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! With the cards and strategies that bring them joy. Die Hard, unlike the average guy, rarely, if ever, leaves their pet deck, even if it's as irrelevant as a strategy like Cloudian. Sorry, Cloudian, someone had to take the fall here. This is the group I mentioned earlier, who would likely be mad at the statement, "your deck doesn't matter," because to them, they view their deck as everything. However, I see this situation as the archetype meaning everything to the player, not their deck itself. As long as a die-hard Ghost Trick fan gets to jam in Ghost Trick Shot and Angel of Mischief into any old deck, they're having a blast, and that's what the game's all about. We see that the common thread between each of these players is that their deck does not matter, although for each of them, there's a unique reason. The deck doesn't matter to the meta sheep because they don't become attached, and that deck just helps them get more wins. For the average guy, their deck doesn't matter because they just play what's fun, constantly keeping their pet decks in rotation, but playing a wide array of decks. And to the diehard, well, their deck doesn't matter because they're too focused on their one archetype, rather than the deck itself. Let me know if you think I'm onto something, or if I'm a little bit crazy for claiming your deck doesn't actually matter. Have a good one, and I'll see you all in the next video.